So I have a question here from a client of mine. She writes to me, I don't know many examples of healthy, fulfilling relationships. You're probably the one man I know of who is in one. As a man, what is it you get out of being in a relationship with your lovely woman? And why not an open relationship? Or some other thing with less boundaries? Currently, I'm questioning if men want to be committed. Is that difficult for them? And when they choose to do, why do they choose to? So you start by saying, what do you get out of being in your relationship with your lovely woman? So I get a lot of stuff out of it. The most obvious one that comes up to me is that the sex progresses. Sex gets better. From a nerdy NLP point of view, pleasure and sexuality is about good anchors, good emotional and felt-based associations. So you get that first bit where you're exploring someone where it's incredible, and then it kind of, plateaus a little bit. And then as you get to know them further, and particularly if you're practicing, learning intimacy, learning sexuality, if you see that as a growth path as well, then it gets better and it will go up and down and up and down. But for me, deepening in sexual connection with someone is an exciting adventure. What I'm learning as a reformed juvenile delinquent rebel who still has some of that still in me is whenever I embrace a boundary, I get more freedom. Whenever I try to run away from something, it just causes other types of entrapment. There's this whole thing, particularly in spiritual communities and in conscious communities, that kind of perpetrates this stigma, and I guess it's come through Tantra and conscious relating, this idea that to be polyamorous, to be in multiple relationships at the same time, is somehow a more conscious or a more evolved way to relate to other people. I just really feel to express my sensuality and have sex with everyone, and I feel like mankind is really meant to be polyamorous, and it's just more natural for me to be in the free flow of love and connecting with everyone and not be crushed in by these boundaries. A lot of the criticisms of monogamy are that most people are blindly monogamous. And I see that. People are stuck with each other because they believe they couldn't do better or they couldn't have another option. Me and Vanessa both know we could attract other people. We could be with probably quite a lot of people, probably all at the same time if we preferred that. And we've both experienced enough of that to know that it's there. So we're not coming out of lack. This isn't like, oh, you're the best I could do. This is, I choose you knowing that everything else is on the table. So it's not the same as when you're a guy and you're with someone and you're like, she's all right. She's probably the best I could do right now. That's not a good place. So if you're in monogamy from that place, it's kind of fake monogamy. And I feel it's much the same with polyamorous or polygamous or multiple partner relationships, however you want to define that stuff. If you're in it because that's the truest expression of who you are, then more power to you. I've been that. And if you're in it because you're shit scared of being vulnerable or being naked and being really seen, then you're in fake polyamory or fake multiple partner relationship. And I've been in that too. So I don't think it's really a monogamous versus polyamorous debate. It's really, are you consciously in what you're in? And if you are, it doesn't really matter. It's whichever one is the truest thing for you at the period of life you're at. And for me, I've hit a place where it would seem that this is the best and strongest and most beautiful container for me to grow with someone as far as we can possibly go. Part of the question was, do men want to be committed and is it difficult for them? I think that being 99% committed to anything is incredibly difficult because there's other options. When you hit a place of knowing this is it, and a big framework of that for me is knowing, well, the person opposite me is me. If I was to leave them and go to someone else, I would have to deal with the same shit reflected back to me just at a different stage. So from my point of view, I wanted to find someone whose purpose was aligned to mine, whose vision of the world was aligned to mine, who I had awesome sexual chemistry with, and our values were compatible, knowing that full well, even from that awesome place of compatibility, soon enough there's going to be difficulties and challenges and shadows that I'm going to have to overcome, because the longer you're with someone, if you're in truth, if you're in honesty with that person, your shit is going to come up. That's pretty much everything I have to say on the subject. I hope it was helpful. I hope it will serve some other people. I'm going to be doing these regularly, so if you have a question about any of the sorts of subjects that I talk about, please send me a message. Subscribe. This is the beginning of a new channel, so I'm going to really start building this over time. Thank you for listening. Peace.